Shedeur Sanders, since draft day, has been the topic of buzz lately. His draft didn't go as everyone imagined. It'd be interesting to know exactly what the NFL legends and the entire community think about Shedeur Sanders. Everyone knows that while Shedeur Sanders was tearing it up at the college level, right even before Shedeur declared for the draft, loads of comments about his ability, flaws, and overall character have always made it through to the media.
Whatever was dealing with that don't have to do with how he plays football. We here for one thing, and that's to play football. Everybody got different personalities. You never gonna meet somebody that got the same personality anywhere. Like, you can't mix that. We all made different. So for them to judge him on just the things that he say or how he carry himself, bro, how he carry himself is all about how his dad raised him
and designed.
And they know Dion. We all know Dion, bro. Come on, now. We all know Dion. They was just doing that just to, to show how they bigger than what he wanted to stand for. And I understand that, but you don't do that.
Back in 2023, Nick Saban called Shedeur Sanders a potential franchise QB and lately said he's a huge fan of the guy.
But I do think I'm a Shedeur fan because I think he played in a little different style in college because of the players around him. He had to scramble more. But when he can drop, set his feet, and throw on time, he's the most accurate guy.
After Shedeur got snubbed in the 2025 draft, sliding to a 5th-round pick, Nick Saban still backs his skills, dropping some fire comments in a recent interview.
We shouldn't take any player and create an expectation for him because basically it's not about where you get picked, it's about when you get picked, do you take the opportunity that you were given to make the best of the opportunity that you have. And I think Shedeur Sanders is going to do that. And we created this expectation for this guy.
Just like Nick Saban, someone else who speaks highly of Shedeur's talent is Sean Payton. He's been a fan of Shedeur and he doesn't even hide it. Sean Payton had Shedeur's back post-draft, totally shocked by the snub, and couldn't wrap his head around teams passing on him.
I think we all are surprised, and yet the talent, holy cow. I mean, if you're a team that needs a quarterback, we kind of know at the start of the draft who those teams are. Now, again, I saw him in junior high, and then I saw him when he was in high school, and then I saw him when he was a sophomore in high school come practice on their way to Florida. I've had a chance, and I've known Dion, and I felt like I grew up watching him play.
While some bought into Shedeur's stock late, some others, like Mel Kiper, were a believer since way back. Kiper included Shedeur in his early 2025 mock draft as high as 3rd overall pick. Mel Kiper is such a believer of Shedeur and has drawn similarities to Tom Brady. Mel Kiper rode so hard for Shedeur pre-draft and even during the draft so much that he was getting clowned on it for X. When Shedeur finally got drafted way below the expectations of Mel Kiper, he was really furious.
NFL has been clueless for 50 years when it comes to evaluating quarterback. Clueless. They have no idea what they're doing in terms of evaluating quarterback. That's proof. There's proof of that. When they say we know exactly what we're talking about with quarterback, they don't.
For Mel Kiper, he thought the NFL teams were really clueless for passing on Shedeur down to the 5th round. During Shedeur's college years, he was pretty fond of making fans of rival team coaches. One of them was Eddie George. As early as 2022, Eddie George was already really bullish on Shedeur. In one of his pressers, Eddie George described Shedeur as a pro-style quarterback with great poise and accuracy. He's got the arm to make every throw and the mentality to lead a team. Way before draft day, Eddie George was bullish on Shedeur.
I'll say the second time we played him, we had a beat on what he did well, and that was his sophomore season. But he has an answer. He can see it. He can see the problem. He can identify the problem.
But even though it didn't work out like he thought, he said it's not about how you get into the NFL. Big props to Shedeur. Despite the shocking 5th-round drop, he stayed hyped when the Browns picked him. This was praised by Robert Griffin, who commended Shedeur's attitude throughout the draft. Robert Griffin captured a video of Shedeur Sanders with, "This is the type of joy you have when you know God's got you." Many would have pouted about sliding in the draft, but when you know God has his hand on your life, you dance through the fire with a smile and never quit. You love to see it from Shedeur. The former NFL player also shared his thoughts about the draft, attributing part of the reason it didn't work out well was because of Deion Sanders' involvement.
Deion does bring attention no matter what he says, where he goes, and so does Shedeur. But there's more NFL teams that know how to mess a quarterback up than know how to develop them. That's why we're constantly talking about what is this team going to do with this quarterback this year, and what are they going to do with this quarterback this year. We've had drafts where there's been 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks drafted in the 1st round, and those same teams are drafting the quarterback a couple years later. Why? Because they know how to mess them up. They don't know how to build them up. That is why Archie Manning, said that Eli Manning was not going to go to San Diego. He knew if I got him in New York, it'll be the best situation for my son, and nobody treated Eli the way that they're treating Shedeur Sanders. And Shedeur Sanders didn't even say he wouldn't go somewhere. So for me, we should not be punishing Black fatherhood for them being in their children's lives, having an impact on their lives, because we don't punish white fatherhood for the same exact thing. And I know Eli won 2 Super Bowls in New York. There's nothing saying that Shedeur Sanders won't win a Super Bowl. There's nothing saying that he won't be a franchise quarterback. There's nothing saying that he can't be everything that he has been at the collegiate level. But you gotta give him a chance. And you gotta not punish him because you're afraid of the spotlight that Dillion and Shedeur bring to the table. And let's hope that the next generation doesn't become discouraged from what they saw happen to Shedeur Sanders over the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. Always be yourself. Always be confident and have the bravado from what you've earned on the field of play, because you are enough, and who you are is enough for God, so it should be enough for man. We'll see y'all later. Peace.
But some folks say that Shedeur got straight up screwed by the media in NFL. Travis Kelce was not buying or believing any of popular comments regarding Shedeur Sanders having a poor attitude.
Biggest story out of the draft was obviously Shedeur Sanders sliding to the 5th round. Some people had him like top 10 picks, right?
God, I love this for Cleveland. I really do, man. The Browns fan deep down in my heart is just like, yeah.
A lot of anonymous reports prior to the draft that his team interviews went poorly.
I think whoever's the anonymous person that's saying this should come out and say who they were and what.
Say it with your chest.
Like, what the is that about? I'm not sure why he dropped, whether it was the interviews or whether it was stuff that they saw on film. What I saw on film, I thought he was a way higher pick. And I think that's all that should matter. I feel like this is going to be such a fresh start for him. I can see him working his ass off and becoming the starting quarterback in Cleveland at some point, for sure.
The reality is, to me, it's hard to find a great quarterback in this league. If these teams really felt that Shedeur Sanders was a top 1st-round talent, they would have picked him. The bottom line is teams just do not think the potential of Shedeur Sanders panning out at the next level is high enough to warrant an earlier pick. And teams get this wrong all the time. They got it wrong with Brock Purdy. They got it wrong with Tom Brady. This is not like an exact science. And I'm happy Shedeur Sanders is going to get an opportunity to go to Cleveland, because clearly Cleveland wants to replace their starting quarterback. They picked 2 of them in the draft.
Shedeur, hit us up if you need any food recommendations out there in Cleveland, big dog. Good luck becoming the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, brother.
I hope he makes it and he brings all of the people that he brought to the meetings to the contract that he signs after he leads him to some playoff game. You know what I mean? Like, I hope this just happens in the biggest you to everybody around there questioning that side of it.
Many others subscribe to this view regarding Shedeur's draft slide. Malik Neighbors believes that this draft slide was far from deserving due to Shedeur's ability and impact.
That's the next generation, and I kind of feel bad for how that happened to him, because he really played his ass off. And he took it from a different level. He went to Jackson State, and then he did what he did at Jackson State, bought that program, brought a lot of people to Jackson State that never knew about Jackson State, about football.
Put him on the map. Changed a lot of family lives.
Then went to Colorado, where nobody was even looking at Colorado like that. And having all these people look at them play and do what he did, and then do him like that. Like, come on, bro. Y'all know y'all weren't supposed. This boy was the talk of the top 2 quarterbacks in his class. There's no way in hell he go fit around.
However, someone like Malik would understand Shedeur better, since he's been in a similar situation in the past, especially with the media all up in his business. But Shedeur, though still in the early years of fame, has gathered fans, and people have critiqued his performance, attitude, and ability. Dane Burglar, in particular, does not identify as a hater, but the national NFL writer has described himself as unimpressed by Shedeur Sanders in the past. During the recent Draft Day episodes, Dane Burglar particularly criticized Shedeur and hinted at possible reasons teams were passing up on him. That'll be all for now. Do want to subscribe for more content like this.